They posted notes, guys. A lot of players have expressed frustration being trapped by monsters. While it is intended that monsters are able to trap kill you, we felt the frequency of this was a little too high. We'll be deploying the following changes in the patch tomorrow. Player size is now set to 0 units while dodge rolling instead of 1 unit. Some smaller monsters can now be pushed while dodge rolling. This includes monsters such as Adorn beetles and Keth. This should result in getting trapped less often. Note that you will still get trapped. A player size of 0 cannot phase through monsters, but it can get through even the smallest gaps between them. Wow. Checkpoint changes. A lot of players have been reporting that it is tedious to need to retreat to areas of maps in order to get back to the objectives they've already found. We will be deploying the following changes in the patch later this week. Clicking on a checkpoint will allow you to teleport to other checkpoints in the area that are explored on your mini-map. Checkpoints have been added to all entrances and exit zones to allow for teleportation. A checkpoint has been added to the midpoint of the Dreadnought area. We will be making further adjustments to the checkpoint positions as we continue to gather feedback. Item changes. One of the major problems that we've been experiencing is the feeling that the game is not rewarding enough. This is the area that we have to be very careful when adjusting because it's very hard to reduce drops if we increase them by too much. That makes sense. I mean, dude, look at the way they actually just explain shit. Like, look at the way they literally explain. We've identified a few key areas that we believe will significantly improve the experience that players are having. Rare monster changes. We felt that rare monsters were not rewarding enough. This didn't affect the campaign as much because there are unique bosses, increasing the overall amount of drops, but especially noticeable when playing endgame where unique monsters are less common. In particular, the reward that you're getting for the increased difficulty of rares wasn't lining up. We have deployed the following changes. Rarity bonus per rare has been doubled. 10 quantity bonus per rare mod. Increase the chance of rare monsters inherently having more modifiers as you progress through the end game. These changes will cause rare monsters rewards to naturally scale up as you get to higher levels because the number of mods on a monster increases throughout the campaign and into the end game. In addition, many other forms of map juicing will indirectly cause rare monsters to have more mods as well, increasing the rewards that other mechanics of these other mechanics do. Also note the change below to make sure each map has a minimum number of rares will also increase the average number of rare mods, thus increasing drops further. Currency changes. We felt that players were not getting enough currency either in the early game or to sustain adding mods to maps. We've deployed the following changes. Regal orb drop rates have increased by about 40%. Disenchanting of 6 mod rares to give 2 regal shards instead of 1. Lesser jeweler orbs drop rates have increased by 33%. Reduce the drop rate of chaos orbs slightly as they are less valued so that it doesn't consume much of the rare currency drop pool. This causes currency such as exalted orbs to increase somewhat. Gem cutter prism drop rates increased by 500%. Gem cutter prisms now increases quality on gems by 5% instead of 1%. Wow. Mod map changes. Like with rares, we felt that the players were not getting rewarded enough for the difficulty of... I'm so tired, I can't even read. For the difficulty that was being added to mods. We have significantly increased the value of all prefix map mods. We have changed the map prefix mods, but some example changes we have deployed are rarity mods have been increased by 2.5x. Quantity mods have had extra rarity added to them. We removed the bottom tier of some mods. You are much more likely to roll modifiers that affect drops or pack size rather than less useful mods. In addition, it has been identified that some areas are not being affected by the increased number of monster packs mods as they should be. We'll be fixing these maps to work correctly in a later patch. Unlucky drop protection. One of the major issues we've identified are outlier unlucky drops. A single unique boss dropping badly, especially early on, can significantly affect your character. We have deployed the following changes. No more than 50% of a unique monster drops can be gold. Act bosses and map bosses will always drop at least 1 rare. The first of these changes is more significant than it first appears because players can't see the difference between normal and rare gold piles. You will get more equipment and currency items, which can take more advantage of the rarity increases that unique monsters provide. Click to move. There was an issue where the move only command was name locking. This would often result in your character confusedly attacking an unexpected direction while holding down this action. That happened to me a lot when I was using click to move. We have deployed the following changes. Move only no longer name locks. Endgame maps. A concern for players in endgame maps is accidentally missing rare monsters. In addition, many maps did not have the number of rare monsters that they should have had. We'll be making the following changes in a patch later this week. Rare monsters now appear on the mini map when there are 200 monsters remaining instead of 50. Many maps have had additional rare monsters added to them to make sure there are a minimum number in every type of map. Guys, I can't read after 9 hours. Conclusion, we'll be posting the patch notes for these changes when they're deployed. A full list of what's been deployed. Check out the patch notes here. There are a lot more changes to come. These are just some of the changes that are fast for us to make. We'll be continuing to monitor. I mean, dude, the way that they explain stuff is crazy. Wow, that's crazy, you know? That was good. My food's here. Question is, guys, do I eat my sandwich or do I let it get cold? Like, what do I do? All right, guys, we got it. I got a shiggy bacon. What is a good thing to watch on YouTube while I'm eating? Asmon Gold, let's talk about Path of Exile 2. Should we watch this Asmon video? I don't really watch Asmon videos anymore, but let's watch one.
What's going on with everything in PoE 2? People have had a lot of opinions about this game, and we're gonna look and see kind of what's going on. It's not the difficulty, stop repeating this. Not enough loot is dropping, common criticisms of the game. Yeah, people have been very opinionated about this, wasting the player's time. I spent more time in a single zone in Act 3 than I would have spent in the entirety of an act in PoE 1, and a huge amount of that time was extremely boring and unnecessary. Obviously, this has nothing to do with difficulty. So here, let me go ahead. I'm gonna make a list. Things I hope PoE 2 has added or changed. Talent tree, export and import functionality.
Good one.
So that's number one. That's one thing that I think that they should add. More currency for low-level players. And another big reason why I think they should add more currency for low-level players is because it teaches low-level players how to use currency.
Yeah.
You're giving them these things. Wow, I keep getting these orbs of alteration. Maybe I should use them. The
music is too loud in the game.
Boss bug, 5000x shield. That's irrelevant. That'll be fixed. Skills are the problem. Okay, so yes, B teleport from checkpoint to checkpoint inside same map.
Okay.
I think that Act 1 bosses too punishing. I understand that people want the difficulty of the game to be very high, but this is the first act in the game, and you have people that are brand new to the game. It is not necessary for the third boss in the game to kill you in 3 hits. This is not necessary. It's not like that in Dark Souls. It's not like that in Elden Ring. I tried 3 times. Yeah,
oh, hell no. I got fucked up in Elden Ring right away, though. Oh, it's true, though, no?
Exactly. I understand that this is probably the most contentious opinion that I have.
Maybe it's true, though.
And I understand that I'm speaking to an audience of people who are extremely good video game players. Everybody here in this chat is probably in the top 10% of players. I'm being honest. Like, you guys are good at video games. You're invested in them. You're talking about them. You're reading Reddits. You're watching streams about it. You are hyper invested. And if you don't think that's true, go watch an average. Have you guys ever seen somebody that, like, you know, IRL play video games, and it's like watching a monkey try to figure out how to put a square box in a square hole, and he can't do it? You guys have no idea how good you are compared to the average person. Please respect this. I'm sorry. Please, look.
I don't know if that's true. I say this all the time. And the reason why I say this is to jokingly compliment my chat so they don't get upset when I say something that's probably not something they're going to agree with. But when I played WoW, a lot of my viewers sucked fat ass. And it was just true. They were so bad at the game. Like, sometimes they're so bad, it's like embarrassing. I don't think just because innately you watch content about video games, it means you're good at video games. It just means you like video games. You could still be really bad at games. You know what I mean? Like, just because you watch content about a game, it doesn't mean you're good at it. Like, for example, you watch, that's the community you built. You think I built a community of people that are bad at video games? Like, what are you talking about? What does it even mean? I built a community by just farming ohms. Just because you type the word OM doesn't mean you're bad at video games. You know what I mean? Like, what? Some people are really good in my chat, and some people suck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it means you're good or bad. There's some people in my chat that are just really exceptionally good video game players, and they're bad. It's just a spectrum of people, you know? But to the point about the bosses being too hard early on, they are really easy in comparison to the stuff that you fight later, right? Like, the early bosses are a lot easier than the bosses that you fight later. So maybe the whole game is too hard. I don't know. In Elden Ring and Dark Souls, it really depends on your build a lot. I mean, same here though. That's true though. That's true, Jay. It isn't very clear. That is true. Well, I think what happens, okay, from my experience of playing and streaming this game, what has happened is people have come into my chat and they've said they're stuck on a boss. And then usually I ask them like, hey, what's happening? Are you getting one shot? And they're like, oh, I'm just running out of pots and stuff. And I think what happens more than anything is their characters are too weak. And I don't think the game is very clear. Like, even if you follow a build, because you don't understand the gearing super well, you then just are really weak. Like, you don't understand how to get a good item, where the good item is. You're like, I'm not getting any drops, but you have to like craft it. And I think because that isn't super clear, then your character is just kind of weak. Like, even for me, I was like, where's the next weapon? And Yunhei gave me a weapon. And then the weapon before Lupa gave me one. So like, if I didn't have those people to give me the weapon, my character would probably be a lot weaker. So having a weak character, I think that is what it is more than anything. It's like the game doesn't like teach you how to give you a good weapon, right? Yeah, you have to craft. So that he is right though. I mean, they definitely did. Well, I played through it the first time Paige on Warrior. You saw my Warrior playthrough. The Act 2 boss fucked me up, dude. Bad. Like the Act boss fucked me up really bad as a warrior. Act 1, I died like 8 times or something. And I had a really good weapon actually. Well, it was a rare. So yeah, I think that's probably what it is. They did buff the currency a lot at low levels, but he is right. If they gave you more currency, it would let you practice with it. I think another thing too is the game doesn't tell you to buy from the vendor, because like in most games that you play, when the fuck do you ever buy gear from a vendor? Most of the time you think the vendor gear is just naturally trash, especially if you play MMOs. Your inclination is that the vendor gear is just bad. But in this game, the vendor gear specifically is actually really good. It's like how you're going to get a lot of gear too. So like, I think that's also a problem, because if you knew to use the vendor and keep checking it, it would help a lot, right?
I think the game's fine in difficulty. It's totally fine. I also think that Melee feels bad to play. This is a completely subjective opinion.
I don't know if it's just Melee or if it's Warrior feels bad to play. Because Monk, I don't know, is Monk shitty early on? Is Monk bad early on? Because Warrior early on feels bad. But was it bad early on? Warrior ramps up later, yeah. But even then, it still feels weird, but yeah. Monk is pseudo melee? Yeah. It wasn't bad for me. Like Warrior's melee range is so close. Like everything is so close. Everything requires you to be so close. If it has range on it, it's like a giga long animation too. And then dude, when you're trying to cast the skill in their face, you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna trade 20% of my life to get this skill off. Then you have to worry about getting fucking like stun buildup or stun threshold. It's like, I don't know, Warrior just feels weird. But then when you like kind of come online, it's not too bad. I don't know. I think the stunnest thing is fine. Problem is AoE. Dude, the clear, exactly, bro. That's what I'm saying. So if you want to get your best AoE skill off, it's literally Sunder. Like the best skill that you have. I mean, Earthquake is just, okay, Earthquake is fine, but it takes fucking forever to go off, right? So if you want to use Sunder, the skill animation is just so fucking long. And like, you get fucked up trying to do it. You can get stunned on it, or staggered, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I saw the Bone Shatter shit. I saw that too. I have seen that as well. Is there a totem focus build? I think Zizzarin was doing some totem focus shit for a little bit. I think he was doing some totem stuff. That was literally why I got off Warrior. I was like, all right, like, well, what is my future gonna be of, what is my future gonna be, you know? On trying to clear packs and shit, and I just didn't like how it felt. I don't want to take a long time to clear out mobs just to like kill a boss. Hopefully you find a wife. Fuck you, Smiles. You should call her. You should call her, Smiles, and I hope she fucking ignores your phone call. And then you sit there waiting for the text. Too much?